raw, wild, and inhospitable, yet beautiful. This is the home of the Queen of the Alps, as the Arola pine is known. Living at an altitude of 5,000 to 8,500 feet above sea level, and despite strong winds, harsh weather, and temperatures as low as 40 below zero, the Arola pine not only survives, it thrives. For us humans, pine wood has an extraordinary soothing effect. Scientific investigations have shown that pine helps to reduce your heart rate, which can lead to a significantly better night's sleep. However, to begin with, we're going to show you something that will get your heart beating a little faster. We're going to show you, step by step, how you can make your very own unique pine bed using just Felder machines, a few hand tools, and a passion for woodworking. The Felder CF531 combination machine also has its roots in the heart of the Alps, pine wood and the Felder combination machine. Why not bring them together to create a furniture piece that is truly extra class? And in our small but well-equipped workshop, we are now going to produce a bed using a traditional design. Cutting, planing, dovetail jointing, chiseling. There's a fair bit of work ahead of us, but it will certainly be worth it. Our raw material is Tyrolean pine wood cut from sustainable forestry. Let us start by cutting the raw board to size. The 43-inch outrigger table is particularly helpful with its large and stable support surface. A universal rip saw blade is perfect for cross-cutting and ripping. The total cutting height of 4 inches with a 12-inch blade makes perfect cuts possible, even when cutting at maximum height. With the height-adjustable FAT300 working table, heavy workpieces can be easily maneuvered, even when working alone. An edging shoe ensures that the board is held securely in place. An absolute highlight is the patented X-roll format sliding table, extremely smooth and available on the CF531 with a length of 4, 6.5, or 8 feet. With the help of the rip fence and the sliding table, the board can be guided with extreme accuracy. And exclusively available for planers from the Felder Group, the Silent Power Spiral Cutter Block. Tear out free planing results, noise emissions halved, and a knife cutting life up to 20 times longer are details that particularly impress. Up to 5 millimeters depth of cut on the jointer table, which can be adjusted simply and precisely using the depth of cut adjustment handle. The cast iron table extensions on the infeed and outfeed table, which allow us to be able to work with the total table length of 8 feet. On our CF531, we can change from jointing to planing with just a couple of hand movements. The table extensions can now be used to extend the planer table, which makes it easier when working alone. The planed boards are then placed next to each other and marked using the cabinet maker's triangle. Let us start with the jointing of the boards. The jointer fence, with its 90-degree positive stop, is already set perfectly. The use of the optional changeable shaper shaft makes the CF531 an even more flexible machine. In no time at all, we can remove the high-speed router and then insert a 1 1/4 inch shaper shaft with the tool already mounted. With the power feeder attached to a tilt-away device, we can move the feeder into place and swing it back away again, as and when required. The softline glue joint cutter head makes it possible to have an interlocking joint. This guarantees a perfect glue joint without the use of dowels. With the power feeder, we obtain an optimum pressure on the workpiece and can take advantage of maximum working safety. Fits perfectly. Now we're going to glue all the components together with the help of the professional clamps. In preparation for the format cut, we need a clean reference edge, and to get this, we will use the jointer. Due to the surface quality achieved with silent power, only minimal post-processing of the surface is required. Changing the machine between operations can be done again with just a couple of hand movements. The Felder shaper fence always goes back to the exact position with the multi-fine adjustment system. The changeable shaper shaft can be removed completely with the tool mounted. This ensures that the settings will not be lost. This guarantees perfect repeatability. A universal saw blade is best used for a clean rip cut of pine wood. The polycarbonate extraction hood with a 2-inch hose connection ensures not only high work safety, but also helps keep the workshop tidy. The bed legs are glued in one piece at an angle, and for this we're going to use the lifting table as it offers an optimal gluing surface. The rip fence, with the fence slid slightly back, is perfect for the processing of the side components of our bedside tables. And the cross-cut fence for the top section of the bedside tables. The cross-cut fence can be adjusted up to 102 inches and offers additional support. The bed components and headboard have now been cut. Cutting the legs is carried out in 2 steps using the cross-cut fence. And then once again to the correct size in 2 steps using the rib fence. Now we're going to do the dovetail joints. On the bedside table side components, we're going to mark the dovetails at 8 degrees. It is best to mark the parts that are going to be removed completely. For this working process, the 43-inch cross-cut fence and sliding table extension provide an excellent support. A pre-finished wooden template helps to ensure the safe guiding of the workpiece and support across the full width. This can be clamped securely to the cross-cut fence. Cutting is carried out freehand, within the markings. The cross-cut fence can be set to any position between plus 45 degrees and minus 45 degrees. In this case, we're going to set it at exactly 8 degrees. In no time at all, we have carried out all of our dovetail joints. Now we just need to chisel them out, preferably with a freshly sharpened chisel. It is also important to ensure that the corners are tidy, so that when everything is built later, it all fits together perfectly. The finished dovetail joints on the side sections are now transferred to the upper parts. Using a sharp pencil, the job is done in seconds. As the workpiece will be turned in this working process, we also have to mark the lines on the rear side. Accuracy is once again a necessity. We're now going to set the saw blade to 8 degrees. Here we are cutting freehand. A steady hand is necessary. Ideally, half a pencil mark is left on the workpiece. And now, just finish the dovetail joints. And the first check shows us that the work has been carried out cleanly. We are going to cut the dovetail joints on the bed components using the bandsaw, with the boards in a horizontal position. Once again, with an 8-degree dovetail joint angle. It is important to have a good support surface for the over 6 feet long side parts. The FAT300 lifting table with an 8-degree template is an ideal support. The X-Life ceramic bandsaw blade guides ensure an absolutely straight cut when using a wide saw blade. The rip fence set slightly back offers an exact saw blade guide when dovetail jointing. Let us carry on now with the dovetail joint cuts. Lowering the lifting table makes it easy to transfer the dovetail joint marks to the counterpiece if the room height is limited. A wedge cut at 8 degrees and placed against the fence helps us guide the workpiece. By sliding the wedge backwards and forwards, it is possible to work incredibly precisely. An ideal cut is one that is carried out exactly in the middle of the pencil mark. The 4 ceramic guiding blocks, adjacent to the blade on all of the sides, ensure a play-free guiding of the saw blade, and does not veer off along the growth rings. This makes it possible to carry out a very accurate cut using the bandsaw. The friction between ceramic and steel is incredibly low. Due to the reduced heat buildup, the usable life of the blade and the guides increases many times over. The finishing off of the dovetail joints can be done using the rip fence. Set once, it is then perfect for all of the corner sections. A freshly sharpened hand planer is best used to leave a perfect finish on the surface of pine wood. The surface is now perfectly smooth and has a natural shine, which would not be possible with sanding. The planer knife is set so that the chip removed is wafer thin, almost transparent. The bedside table can now be knocked together using a little glue. If everything fits well, then no clamps are required. With our Felder working table, we have an ergonomically comfortable working height. Finished! Our homemade bed is now finished, dovetail jointed, and hand planed from Tyrolean pine, and completely free of metal. All that we needed was a Felder CF531 combination machine, an FB510 bandsaw, and of course, the most important factor of all, a passion for perfection in woodworking. For now, we're looking forward to a good night's sleep in our pine bed. As for those that can achieve perfection in woodworking, have earned a perfect night's sleep. Good night.